Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nordic Championship. My name is Jake Hitbrain Matthews, and I'm joined by Dan Orcs Harrison as we're getting ready to kick off day 2 of week 4. Yesterday was quite exciting. We had quite a few really good games. I mean, especially that game 3 went on for hours. It felt like it was like 55 minutes, but it was a long game, and it was really, really fun to watch. Back and forth. So how are you feeling about yesterday?
I'm feeling good. I mean, that one was obviously the big talking point, 51-minute game where Nordic, despite their composition falling off in the sort of early to mid-game, they kept going. They kept it interesting, but ultimately Vipers outscaled. There was some, it wasn't just outscaling though, there was some really heads-up play from Vipers, especially when the Elder Dragon got taken to find those picks to buy them more time. But it was just a lot of excitement. And the end of the first round robin, and I feel like that's significant because now each team's had 7 games, but we're going to be repeating the same schedule that we've gone through before. So if you look at if we can have a look at the schedule, you'll see the games today are the same matches we had in week 1. So interesting talking point to see how the teams have developed since then and how we will compare from their week 1 matchups.
Yeah, let's quickly go over what games we got coming up. So we started the day off with Team Singularity versus Hybrid. Game number 2 will be Dusty versus Nordic. Then game 3, Vipers Inc. taking on Orlando. And then game 4 will be rounding the day out with Bifrost versus Hillerod. Now, let's look back to week 1. Were there any games here that kind of took you by surprise? Anything that you're excited to see? Kind of any teams you're excited to see go up against each other again?
So I think Dusty vs Nordic was a close one. Dusty should have won that game. They had all 3 inhibitors down. They had the Nexus explode. It was very close to going down. And then Naito made a big play. You can say it was a split take from Dusty as well. And Nordic just ended. So I think in this situation, Nordic are on the upswing. Dusty are looking rough. So I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen again. But it's a chance for revenge and Dusty to sort of finish them off where they couldn't before. And the other game is the last game of the day, Bifrost against Hillerod. Because Bifrost won that in week 1. Hillerod started off very rough. But they've been looking really solid in recent weeks, and I feel like they could take this one. I feel like that's the most likely one to have a change in results from our week 1.
Let's have a little look at the standings as well and see where everybody's placing as we start up the stage 2 of the round robin. Team Singularity sitting at the top, only 1 loss to them, and that was to Bifrost. Vipers Inc. in second. One of their losses was to Team Singularity. Their other loss was to Bifrost as well, and in third, there they are, the teams that seem to be able to slay these undefeated teams elsewhere. In third, Hillerod in 4th, Dusty in 5th, Orlando, Hybrid and Nordic all tied there in between the 6th and 7th, 8th mark. They've got a long way to go. Nordic's really, really especially, I've got my eyes on them because they need to play this round robin perfectly because everyone put them here as, you know, one of the best teams in the Nordic Championship, and there they are sitting at the bottom, found 2 wins in the first round robin. They need to get as many as possible to climb back up and potentially make that playoff spot.
Yeah, the big thing, they need to beat those other teams who are currently occupying the top 4 or the middle of the pack. I mean, I think beating Singularity isn't really going to make a difference in terms of where Singularity end up. They're quite far ahead of everyone else, so in a good spot. But particularly when you look at teams like Hillerod, when you look at the likes of Bifrost, you want to be taking wins away from them to close that gap as much as possible.
Yeah, well, let's have a little talk about our next matchup. This is the key one. Well, the one we got coming up anyway. Team Singularity versus Hybrid. Now, Team Singularity, they've only got that 1 loss on the board. Coming into this game, you kind of expect them to win this game as well. They've been looking really, really solid, especially yesterday, because there were a few question marks that had kind of come up towards the end of that first round robin, but they kind of pushed those aside in yesterday's game and just completely controlled and played a superb game of League of Legends.
Yeah, it was a solid performance, and that's what we saw from them in the start of the split, especially against Hybrid. It was a game that Hybrid kept close for a little bit, and then Singularity started making some proactive moves. Hybrid tried to respond, and then a great flank from Scood and Nilly just shut that down. At the moment, I feel like Hybrid have really been struggling recently. We saw some great games out of them, utilizing the Ziggs. But then since then, they've kind of fallen away in terms of their strength, obviously struggling at the low end of the table. And even in yesterday's game, they went for some scaling, a composition that would just play front to back, but up against the Soroka and actually the more impactful scaling from the other team, they ended up losing out despite the game for going on for such a long time. So,
and their glimmering hope in that game for me was Priskanet on the Orianna.
Yeah.
Landing multiple big shockwaves, and we've been seeing him perform really well on that Orianna across the entirety of the split. He's going up versus Krogson, someone who will punish you, but the way in which he punishes is very aggressive. He steps up and kind of leaves himself potentially vulnerable. to kind of get shut down. So maybe if Yike can recognize that and try and get like a 2v1 situation going down mid lane, Krogson could be an avenue to blow this game open if you're hybrid.
Absolutely. He has been over aggressive, even in the Ornn game yesterday, where he was quite tanky, so it was a lot harder to punish. There were still some moments where he was out of position. Remember that moment where 4v1 in the enemy jungle, he did eventually go down after doing a ton of damage, but ultimately his team wasn't there to support him. Situations like that can be costly, but we are in a pick and ban. Hybrid banning away the Soraka. I'd like to see the Ornn as well. Team Singularity have been picking up the Ornn Karthus combo, and I feel like if they go for that Ornn first pick, it's difficult to sort of have a reaction. Nili is actually not playing today, so they're running with PlayStation in the top lane, who is normally their support sub. So this could actually give an avenue in which Singularity are weaker, because there have been games they've relied heavily on Nili to sort of come out ahead.
Now remember, we are still on 10-3 here in the Nordic Championship, so that's why you're seeing the Soraka ban. It hasn't been nerfed yet. We haven't got the things like the Ornn upgrade items, so Ornn, even though isn't as strong as he will be next patch, he's still pretty strong. He's a very comfortable blind pick, especially against something like Krogson we've seen being able to take mid. The flexibility on this pick is very strong, so hybrid are going to ban that away. We have the Ziggs, the Rumble, the Cassiopeia, the Ornn, the Syndra, and the Soraka all taken off the board. Now Team Singularity looking towards what's going to be left open for them. Looks like they might just look for this Ezreal Yuumi bot lane, but I'm going to switch it off and give Krogson the Orianna. You know Priskanet looked good on that. It's a confident blind pick, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think this is basically saying that Priskanet likes to play these mages and hasn't really shown a willingness to play much else. Syndra, Cassiopeia off the table, Orianna rises up in priority, feels comfortable as a blind, and critically for Singularity, they don't reveal very much here. They can go for a strong 2-rotation pickup. If they want to play like the Ezreal Yuumi, that's an option, but they've shown that they're not necessarily set in stone with picking up the Yuumi, even if they go the Ezreal. So we'll just have to see how things play out. Hybrid can answer with the Jarvan and the Aphelios, so something that can instantly threaten Orianna by having her locked up in that Cataclysm if she's flashless. And then the Aphelios, we've seen so much power in this champion still, especially when Misfortune was nerfed slightly and Senna pushed out the meta.
Yeah, it's still a very confident blind pick here. Merv's going to get his hands onto that. And Team Singularity probably going to look to try and answer in peace by getting themselves an AD carry in a jungle, or maybe just their bot lane combo. I
think Lee Sin is something that Scoot's confident on, and we've seen that go up against the Jarvan quite a lot in the Nordics. In terms of AD carry, I feel like the Ezreal, Rise shown he's happy to play it. I think he's confident on it, and up against the Jarvan, it kind of mitigates a lot of his kit by having that Arcane Shift available, but we'll just have to see how things play out. Thresh, also a valid option for Vayu. Can obviously deal with the engage potential of the flag and drag quite well. Stops the enemy team from taking it because it does disrupt Lee Sin quite a bit. Actually going to go for the Poppy here in this situation, so could be a flex, can be played support, but kind of do expect it in the top lane. Question's going to be what to hybrid answer. Kakan has been known to sort of play these weak side picks more generally in the top lane, things like the Gangplank, but he could pick something into the Poppy that could punish it pretty heavily, so we'll just have to see.
Well, taking the time to think about it, they want to get themselves their bot lane, it looks like, here so far for hybrid, as they look into Fresh, make sure that Merbs is nice and safe, because obviously one of the weaknesses that Aphelios has is he doesn't really have any mobility other than when he's got his red gun and he presses Q and he gets a bit of movement speed. So give him something that can kind of get him out of trouble. You know, if you start to see the likes of Krogson roaming down, you can pull him back towards your tower, get him nice and safe. And this does mean that they can look to ban away these bot lane here for hybrid. They can take away the Cogmore from Rai.
Bit of an interesting one. I do like the Thresh, though. Obviously, it does a lot to deny Scoot in terms of his engage potential. And also, denying it from the other side, obviously, it kind of limits... If you're picking a mobile AD carry, they are going to be trapped in that Cataclysm for the most part, unless they have flashes available. Mordekaiser banned away. These are one of the picks I was talking about Kakan could take to punish the Poppy, potentially. We see what hybrid go for in the next one. I think the Ezreal ban would be a solid one in this situation.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see that one.
Well, taking the time thinking about it, really running it down here for the side of hybrids. They ban away the Ornn instead. So the Ezreal Yuumi has been left open.
That's a Bard.
Bard. I'm having a brain fart. They ban away the Bard. I mean, they did ban Ornn as well.
Yeah, they did early in the draft. You know, if you were paying attention at home, you'll have seen that. Set going to come out as a ban away from Kakan.
Gangplank's still been open though, so you feel like Kakan probably quite comfortable just to pick this up now and then let Priskanet get
I feel like
I mean, he doesn't even need
you
to
know what
counter
your
pick.
mid lane matchup is.
Yeah.
You could take a flex here though and leave things a little bit up in the air. There's really a lot of choices for hybrid. There isn't really something set in stone because they, for the most part, know what they're going up against. Although the Poppy could be a flex is the only concern. It would be pretty weak in the bot lane, and they're going to go for the Lucian. So a flex pick and something that would be able to punish the Poppy pretty heavily.
Yeah.
With the range advantage. Although I will say Poppy, pretty bulky, so can shake off a lot of that damage.
You do get the balk, so you have a little bit of kind of sustained damage for yourself as well. As you know, just the health percent. Now, Team Singularity, they're looking for their bot lane. Looks like they're going to lock in the Ezreal, and you'd
really
expect
surprised.
the Yuumi really to go here for Vi.
Potentially, but they would
They
really
played
lack
the Nautilus
engage
yesterday,
potential.
didn't they? They did pick the Nautilus with
Yeah,
this.
and they lack a lot of engage is a big thing. I'm concerned about in their team comp. So unless they just play the kite back, then they have that advantage. It's a pretty short range composition from hybrid for the most part, unless Calibrum's available for Merbs. And Rakan, another element of safety, it means they're both able to get outside of that Cataclysm and does provide that engage that I was concerned that they wouldn't potentially have. Hybrid though, they get around things out. Potentially pick something up for Priskanet in the mid lane, although again this Lucian can be flexed.
Hybrid now looking to form their comp. What are they lacking? What do they think they need here for their team so far? Because they've got
AP.
damage.
AP damage, I think, is a big thing.
Oh, you wanted AP. You got it. It's the Vladimir locked in for hybrid here.
A lot of dive
And again,
potential.
still a flex pick. You expect it to probably go mid lane here and then put Kakan on the Lucian top lane. But they have AP. They have some scaling in there as well now. And actually, Priskanet, he's going to take the Lucian. Kakan's going to take the Vladimir top lane.
I prefer this. I feel like Lucian into Poppy is a bit finicky because if you get pressured, if you get ganked, like you can actually fall behind and she just gets too tanky. But Vladimir, like Poppy can never really do anything to you. You don't have any dashes to interrupt. If she charges onto you, you can just pull and you can just consistently put damage into it and outscale massively. In the mid lane, Lucian, if you try and shove the wave with your ball as Orianna, you can then just dash onto her and bully her quite heavily. And it means that they're not forfeiting priority. The big issue with Vlad in the mid lane is that he gets shoved in by almost anything. So I like that they're going for the Lucian so they can sort of contest that. And overall, I really like the composition coming out from hybrid. I think they got a lot of strengths in the late game. I think they have clear win conditions in team fights. Just try and get on top of this Orianna and blow her up. But they have 3 separate carries on their side who they can rely on when it gets to the later stages. I think the critical thing is they play around that mid-jungle matchup. They try and get a big advantage there, and they can translate the pressure towards the bot lane. With Singularity, obviously limited by not having Lily here, so having to lean on this PlayStation God and this Poppy pick. I feel like the composition doesn't really have a clear identity, which we've seen them play before, so it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. But there isn't really like a great setup other than you coordinating big plays from Scoot and Vayu on the Rakan and Lee Sin, and then following up with your Orianna Shockwave. I feel like if this does go later on, they are going to struggle for the most part, but we'll have to see.
Talk to me a little bit about this bot lane, because we're looking at the Rakan into Fresh matchup. In my head, that doesn't feel like the most fun matchup for Rakan because he can get flayed, he can get hooked, and he's a very squishy, and he obviously, what makes Rakan hard to kill isn't his health and his like stats, it's his mobility.
Yeah, which can make it difficult to land anything on the Rakan, and realistically, if Rakan is playing it safely, that's good. I think he saw the flag and then wanted to try and play a little bit aggressive, but he's actually lost his ward there, got taken down, and he's forced quite heavily out of the jungle. He's going for the reset here, but Hybrid's set on getting information early is the critical thing. But yeah, going back to the bot lane, I feel like both these supports, they can just sit back. It's pretty hard for either of them to find and engage unless either of the sides misplay. Because with the Rakan, him dashing in, it's quite telegraphed, and you set the risk up that you'll get hooked by the Thresh, because when you do use your grand entrance, when you're about to implement the knock-up, you are frozen in place for a split second. Whereas if you just sit back, there isn't really much chance Axis lands a hook unless you're misplaying and he's playing really well. And then it just really comes down to 80 carry against 80 carry unless you're able to find aggression. And I feel like that favors Merbs. He's going to have the easier time finding priority. And also Axis on the Thresh, you can harass quite a bit more than Rakan with your autos, with your Flay passive, and also the Flay itself. So I feel like Hybrid bot lane favored in these early levels. but definitely there's some cheaper power spikes for Rai on the Ezreal. There's a lot of mobility, so they're less vulnerable to ganks for the most part. I see Yike potentially going for a level 2 gank here.
Yeah, seeing if he can make something happen, gets himself the flag. Doesn't quite get that knock-up, but Krogson has to flash, and Priskanet going to be feeling very, very comfortable with this lane now. Krogson did at least take himself the corrupting potion, so we'll have a little bit of additional healing.
That's a perfect scenario. You don't burn your flash on the Jarvan, even though you don't get the knock-up, the damage was enough to force Krogson to flash, and now he's in a really vulnerable position. We talked about how this mid-jungle matchup would be really important in this game, and already Hybrid putting down the pressure. And what I like to see is a little bit of a different play style coming out from Priskanet. We've typically seen him playing these mages like the Ziggs, like the Orianna. This is him playing something that you have to be more aggressive on, that you have to try and put the pressure down in the lane, because if you don't, Orianna will just outscale you. It's early in the game, but I like to see that they're putting the attention onto him.
Well, for the moment, just pushing this wave up. Krogson should catch most of this pretty much uncontested. So actually, Krogson does miss out on the cannon. That's pretty unfortunate. He's missing quite a few minions underneath his tower, so it's going to able to kind of threaten him enough, but Krogson will drop a few minions here and there. Now, Axis is moving in on a little bit of a deep warding mission with the help of Yike. They knew if Scoot started on his blue side, they saw him on a ward, and they're expecting him to be around here.
Yeah, but he saw them ward over the wall, so he will spot them out. But this is the issue, Hybrid. They don't have priority mid, they don't have priority bot lane. It frees Axis up to move in this way, and it also means that Yike can play very aggressive. He knows he has his laners backing up. And if you look at the jungle off Scoot on the bot side, you can see both of his camps warded now for when they respawn. Really hard for him actually to take those safely.
Yeah, Vayu goes for a fight versus Merbs, and this is a bit more health. Merbs obviously has himself a little bit of lifesteal. The pings are coming down towards the mid lane. It looks like Priskanet might be getting a gank here from Scoot, but with Yike about, maybe it's Krogson who's getting caught out. Lands himself a knock-up, but the turnaround's going to be there. The kick comes down by Scoot. Yike trying to put some time and distance between him and Scoot has now started to put that damage back in. Krogson, just with the clockwork wind-up, finds himself first blood.
Yeah, not really sure what the play was there from Yike. Ambitious, I'll definitely say. But Priskanet was low on HP, and you saw Scoot there. I think that's a critical thing. You saw Scoot there, ready to assist, ready to look for the play, and then you dash in on the Orianna, do very little damage. Priskanet's not there to follow up, and just give away your life. That was really rough to see, and considering how much pressure they enacted early, burning Krogson's flash, invading Scoot's jungle, for that to happen, it's really rough. And now Dive potentially going to come in here.
Yeah, they're looking for it. You can see Yike is waiting in the wings. It's been spotted out already. That's going to be the knock-up. That's going to be an easy kill. And now Yike, he may just get followed up on 2 here. Scoot is going to take a lot of tower shots, and they don't even turn it around. The execute is huge. Now, meanwhile, bot lane, Merbs gets himself a lot of damage off the Flay. Is going to slow Vayu. Vayu's been able to make some distance between them, and now Rai's looking just to turn this around. Heal's been used by Merbs. He's got the Infernum, but Rai is just going to flash forward, tries to get himself a little bit more, and Axis standing in the middle of Truth 2, finds himself a hook. Merbs answers back out with the Infernum, going to find himself a double kill. Nice and easy. Axis dies, but Merbs, that's a double kill for him. He's happy.
Oh, that was some beautiful play. Axis hooking Rai into the Calibrum Q, so he got the stack to finish him off. That actually looked like it could have gone pretty bad. I think they tunnel visioned on Vayu a bit too much there, which allowed Rai to find some damage onto Merbs, but ultimately they're able to find the 2 kills onto the Aphelios. It was only 1 kill on Singularity and it went into Vayu's pocket, so a massive upwards trade for Hybrid, and they need that after that mid lane play, which went so badly. Credit to PlayStation, his roam down really set that one up. Not only did he interrupt the dash from Priskanet with the flash W and the headbutt into the wall, but Yike as well, they interrupt his flag and drag on top of that. So it actually stopped both of them from being effective in that fight. And then Scoot only going down for the execute pretty huge as well.
Priskanet's actually used the culling here onto Krogson. Axis coming through, the shockwave's going to go down, but now Yike, we're going to see if he can close that gap. That's the Flay, that's the knock-up. Krogson will fall, and it's a shutdown for Axis. He even holds his life as Scoot, unable to finish it off. Priskanet has alleviated some of that pressure that's been put down in the mid lane by Scoot's 2 ganks.
Yeah, I like the confident play coming out from Axis to flash in, set things up pretty easily. Krogson using the shockwave was actually pivotal there. If he had it under tower, that play would not have been possible. So it's again, Krogson, something we talked about is him being over-aggressive and getting punished for it. Him using the shockwave there results in his death, and Scoot unable to find anything in return.
Go on, just poking PlayStation out a little bit. He's got himself a CS lead, as PlayStation obviously did go for that roam, but the gold be pretty much equal, if not in a little bit of favor of PlayStation, without killing that assist for himself. Meanwhile, we're seeing Priskanet now with that assist. He's gone back to mid lane. He's got himself the double longsword, double Dorans. Krogson now running around with a cloth armor and his lost chapter. So Priskanet's going to find it a little bit harder to find himself any kills here. Does have his flash available though, so if Scoot comes in for a gank, Priskanet should be nice and safe.
Yeah, now he has the mana as well to shove things in. It's going to be pretty tricky, this matchup, to be honest. There's sustain in terms of HP from Priskanet, but the trading power of an Orianna right now with the Lost Chapter, pretty hard to deal with. And Flash available again for Krogson, so has that sort of safety net. They do try and apply pressure, but dragging down for Hybrid means that the typical swap we see, put your bot lane towards the top side to contest that Herald, going to start coming into play. There's a lot of control wards down on the top side of the map for Singularity. And Priskanet's got to be a little bit careful. His team are busy setting up vision around the Herald, so he's a bit vulnerable here. And you saw how much burst damage Krogson was able to do with that combo.
Well, every time Priskanet steps up to get the wave, takes himself a QW combo, and it just poke him out.
And this is the problem if you fall behind on this matchup. It gets really rough because you're just so short-ranged up against
Scoot.
Orianna.
Not going to be able to jump in and steal that in time as Merbs. Put some damage down, gets the Gravitum off. They've got that flag, they've got that drag. Priskanet just comes in with a culling. Tidies that one up nice and easy. Krogson has to flash.
Yeah, and just as soon as this flash comes up, it's down again. I like this setup from Hybrid, but you really got to ask, what was the game plan from Singularity there? The vision had been set up by Hybrid. They had the numbers advantage. They had their bot lane in place, and yet Scoot's still trying to contest it. If you want to contest the Herald, swap your bot lane up to top side. They will eventually move. Vayu coming up. And you can see Vayu moving over. But essentially, Hybrid, they've done their job. They got the Herald. They got a plate. Kakan's now shoving the wave into the bot tower and going to get a plate for himself. So Hybrid really handling this early game pretty well. Fortunately, Singularity can't exit out the game.
Question for me is, where is Yike going to use this Rift Herald? It's like Singularity maybe thinking about swapping back down towards that bot side. They are recalling up here.
Yeah, Dragon in a minute. They want to be on the bot side and setting up the vision control for that. The cost could be a plate here if Singularity overstay, but it really doesn't put them in a position to contest this Dragon if they do stay for any longer. You see Ryan Vayu, they want to shove the wave in.
The problem is Ezreal doesn't really do well at shoving waves fast.
No.
He got that Sheen for a little bit of bonus damage, but
they're not even going to go for the plate, so they will swap to the bot side of the map, but they're going to be late on their play. So you can see on the side of Hybrid, Priskanet's come mid, he's pushed the wave out, he's picked up an item, he's bored. Merv's in the same position, he's now going to push bot lane out, and then they have control to take vision on this bot side river, and Singularity again have to face check into it if they want to contest.
Yeah, Merv's able to shove the lane in. Looks like they're going to lose a fair amount of minions here. Right. Not actually got his True Shot Barrage available to him. He might want to hold that because there could be a fight around this Dragon if Singularity decide they want to contest it. But like you said, they're very late to the punch. They don't have that vision control, so they may just have to give this up. Scoot is hovering about this side of the map, though. They've got that.
Go for a steal, but it's very dangerous with things like a Thresh in play because he can easily lock you down and stop you from getting out again.
Scoot has the Blast Cone. He's going to throw the kick out, but they're keeping him nice and far away. He's just going to have to give this up. There's another Drake over to the side of Hybrid. We're looking at a cloud map as well.
So it'd be a big one for Hybrid, particularly for Kakan. The Vladimir definitely benefiting from that movement speed. And TP did just come up for PlayStation if they want to contest that one, but the big thing was the slow reset, the lack of vision or control of the bot side river. There wasn't really a way in on that for Singularity, and ultimately Hybrid finding quite a few advantages in this early game.
PlayStation trading up here versus Kakan, but Kakan obviously level 9 now, has that transfusion on max cooldown.
Yeah, obviously max points on it, reduces cooldown significantly, so he's in a comfortable spot. And although Poppy can win the shorter trades against the Vladimir, the sustain just makes it extremely
Gonna need to be careful. That's a flash away from the shockwave.
Yeah, they're ambitious there. Does have the sustain to heal up with the Cutlass and the double Doran still, but definitely pushing his limits a bit there. You have to respect this Orianna damage. He's finished out that Ludens as well, so in a really comfortable spot.
Well, looks like the bases are coming down. Hybrid actually sending Merbs and Axes into the mid lane. They don't know if they're going top or bot here. They may actually just try and 4-man the mid with the Rift Herald. They've still got... Oh, no, it's timed out. No, they summoned it. They've just summoned it. That completely baited me out. So, yeah, they're looking to just completely strong-arm their way into this mid lane and get some priority here. Charge is going to come down. They don't have a wave to work with, but they are going to get a fair amount of plates over to their team. Scoot is going to be here to clear it out. Because there were so many members, there were so many bonus resistances, they're actually going to struggle to take any more plates. So they Herald for what's almost 3 plates mid, but they don't even get that 3rd plate.
Yeah, and it's a pretty rough Herald usage. It was clearly an afterthought, but Hybrid have been setting up well for the objectives. There will be another Herald spawning that they can potentially prioritize, and that would be enough to take down that mid lane tower. But ultimately, they haven't put themselves in a position to get that many plates. They haven't put themselves in a position to get the first tower blood yet. Although Kakan has been starting to apply pressure in his top lane matchup, and this is only going to get worse for the Poppy. PlayStation, we saw him go for that trade where he did actually win out over Kakan in the short time period. That won't happen again. There's going to be a point where the damage from Poppy just is not significant to do any damage to Kakan. He'll out-heal all of it, and he'll actually be able to put some pain back onto PlayStation. That's the big concern for me for Singularity, is his top lane matchup is eventually just going to lose any semblance of control for them when Kakan starts to become a monster. We do see the plating now fall down. Hybrid on full resets here. Unable to defend right now. 2 minutes on that Cloud Dragon, which would be the 3rd, put them on Soul Point. So I think we'll likely see a lot of control put towards that side, but I think their priorities, they're trying to quickly take that Herald. It's 1 minute away. They put Priskanet in the side lane, so set up in a 1-3-1, which I think does favor them quite a bit. Lucian pretty safe in the side lane. You often don't want your Orianna there, even if she has TP. And they're trying to get mid priority, lean over to the top side of the map where the Herald is and get control of that vision.
Shockwave actually connects onto Merbs here. Instantly interrupted. That was an insane steadfast presence by PlayStation. And now Yike getting jumped onto by Scoot. Scoot trying to put that damage in, gets himself the kick, flash off, the dunk, the flash away. Yike is ignited and Vayu takes him down. PlayStation playing like a man possessed right now, and Axis getting dove here by Vayu. Does get himself the flay off and a tower shot to help him. As Priskanet makes his way towards this lane. Just massive misstep from Hybrid, and they've been punished hard for this.
Yeah, they want to go for the mid priority, but they get contested on it by Singularity, and the fight is quickly taken. They get mid tower on top of that. They now have control of the Herald area, so they can take that as well. And Singularity, just as things were starting to look rough, just as we were starting to get concerned, they found their way back into this game. Now, I think at this point, you're not really in a position to contest this Herald. Well, Hybrid seems to think otherwise.
Yeah, they want to try it.
Croxon is low mana.
Axis is looking to come through. Priskanet's closing that gap. They may not get the Herald, but they might just get the fight. Priskanet being zoned away. Culling comes down. Yike tries to flag and drag over. I didn't see who picked that up. Scoot finds it. True Shot Barrage goes down, and Priskanet will pick him up. Moonlight Vigil onto Vayu. Will get himself a 2-man route, and in comes Kakan. Looking to rip through members with a Hemo Plague. Krogson is so low, and Kakan will transfusion him down. 3 kills over to the side of Hybrid.
Well, Hybrid proving me wrong. Definitely in position to contest the fight, even if they didn't get to the Herald. And it felt like Singularity overstaying a little bit after taking that mid tower down. They end up losing a lot there, although they are going to get the Dragon. You can see Rai and PlayStation actually just dueling that one out. But it's a small consolation prize considering how much they lost there.
Yeah, I think if you're Hybrid, you're okay kind of taking that team fight and picking it up. Although Yike, he says, actually, no. PlayStation looks to try and make his way forward. They try to get the interrupt up, but Yike jumps in. He secures the dragon. It doesn't matter if he sacrificed his life. We are 16 minutes in, and Hybrid are on sole point.
Yike denying that one is huge. Now, one away, it means Singularity cannot give up a dragon. Well, that soul goes over to Hybrid, and we saw the chase potential of the Vladimir there, how powerful he is already. Buffed up with the Cloud Soul, it's only gonna get worse. Singularity in a rough spot. They do have that Herald. They want to make a play with it, but they're down 2 towers to 1. They're down 1,500 gold, and Kakan is looking like a monster right now.
He's heading back up towards to join his team, or at least to step back. Doesn't want to get caught out overstaying here. Especially while this mid lane tier 1 still stands. Always gives Singularity a kind of point they can pivot to in this mid lane, in the middle of the map. Krogson shoving up this top side as well. But I want to talk a little bit about what the items are starting to come through as. Kakan got himself the Proto Belt, building towards his Spellbinder. Potentially. No, it's not a Spellbinder.
Could be Spellbinder, could be Rabadons. Normally you just pick up the Phoenix Codex for the CDR.
Oh my lord, Priskina got chumped. Axes? I sees the box here, the flag and drag onto 2s. That's a shutdown picked up by Krogson. Did have to use that shockwave, but he's looking to come through to try and get something onto Axis and to Yike. Flay back, and just a massive misplay by Hybrid. Merbs is also getting poked out by Rai.
You're not sure what the game plan was there. I mean...
A Q? Rai's just found Merbs! Okay. What are they doing?
Hybrid really caught sleeping in this situation. I'm not really sure what to say. That was just really awful all around.
That was just bad.
Priskina and Mirb just dying for seemingly no reason. Oh, that was actually a really nice steadfast presence. The only dash Vladimir can ever have is from the Proto Belt, and it gets denied. Still does get the tower, but Singularity trading on the top side of the map with the Herald.
Let's see if he can get the Herald in time. Can't. He's going to get his charge off, but remember that turret can hit on Akakan. 1 versus 2 finds himself a kill. Gets Blast Cone followed up by Rai here, but now Rai's caught inside of a Vladimir. One more transfusion, and Kakan finds a double kill.
Yeah, he opted into that right. He thought he could find it, but some fancy footwork, thanks to Phase Rush, dodging away from the Mystic shots, means Kakan is able to find the kills. And despite the fact Singularity are exposing some issues with Hybrid, despite the fact they found those 4 kills, it really doesn't seem like it's going to matter, because this game is going to come down to Vladimir strong, and there's no real answer to that. Hybrid going to look to take this mid tower. Not a ton Singularity can do right now. So currently resetting or respawning, and that one will go down. So all out of towers for Hybrid. Singularity still yet to take that bot lane out of tower.
Priskina just pushes up the wave. We can see the gold on our screens right now. Big lead in that bot side for Merbs. Over Rai.
I don't know why I said Kakan got bot lane in a tower before. I don't know. I just, when the guy got hyped up by the steadfast play and just...
Look at the mid lane gold as well.
That's a big discrepancy. Priskina not doing too great. This is probably why he sticks to the mages, because his Lucian hasn't looked too hot. All PlayStation can do is just disengage the Vladimir. He can't actually damage him anymore. He just out-heals everything. Especially, I mean, this happens regardless in this matchup, but when he's this far ahead, 2,000 gold, he's got 4 kills, he's farming extremely well. It's never going to go favorably. Right now, Singularity trying to get control off the dragon area. They've already got strong vision.
Right.
They are looking to get this dragon, deny the soul from Hybrid.
Hybrid have been to base, they've spent their gold. They want to get back on the map as quick as possible.
They don't have the vision to push in here. That's a big concern. In a choke point, Singularity can be devastating. They're trying to look for mid-priority here to contest via that. I think Singularity will be a little cautious because Kakan is on the flank. And he is the scariest member of this game right now.
Hopefully we can toggle back to items, because I'm curious to see if Kakan finished up his death cap. He has. So he's got that available to him. So he is going to really hurt. Dragon spawning up in 15 seconds. Hybrid They're okay for the moment. They've got the Infernum, so they can clear out this wave very, very quickly, especially with the help of the flag. Singularity. Trying to see if they can find an opening. Playing with bated breath as Axis finds a hook onto one. The box goes down. Kakan's on that flank, though. Has been spotted out for the moment. Yike looking for a big ultimate. It's just a missed ulti by Krogson. A good knockout comes down, though. Flay back. The health bars for Hybrid are a little bit low. His kick from Scoot goes wide. A shutdown gets picked up by Krogson, and Axis has to flash away. Yike's trying to put that damage out, but he gets followed up here, and that's Scoot getting himself yet another kill. Yike is running away. Merbs is trying to put the damage in, but he gets stunned up against the wall, and Singularity crush the team fight, even with a whiff shockwave.
And Hybrid just looked disjointed there. Not really sure what they were going for. Kakan seemed like he wanted to go for an engage. Just ends up standing there, getting chunked out, and then goes down to the stun from PlayStation. Overall, just a really rough play. And Singularity, they're going to start off this Baron. It's pretty slow, especially as this is a Gauntlet Ezreal, not a Triforce.
Yeah, teleport's coming in
from... Actually, Krogson moving over.
He might just give up Soul here, though.
Yeah, Yike.
Moving over, they know this is going down. The teleport's coming in. Kakan wants to try and contest this. It's already very, very low. And that means they are just going to be looking to disengage. Kakan tries to take out PlayStation as in comes the rest of the team. Channeling up, flashes forward, throws down the ulti. Looking to get some damage onto Rai. Goes gone to dodge away from the shockwave. Rai is low. Kakan now disengaging as Scoot takes out Priskanet. That's going to be a Lantern. An easy double kill is being picked up here. Yike's still trying to finish up this Cloud Drake, but he can't do it in time as his team just kind of inted that.
Yeah, really, absolutely did. Kakan tried to go for the play onto Rai, but just did not have enough damage to finish him off, sorry. And Priskanet, not sure what's really going on with this Lucian mid pick.
Well, he's not playing Orianna, that's the problem.
Yeah, he's not looked good at all. Singularity, we had concerns about what they would do about the Vladimir. Apparently just force team fights and blow him up has worked well enough. They're now 4,500 in the lead. You can see it's just exploded. Now look at Krogson's goal difference, even over Kakan, who still has the most on the side of Hybrid. He just far outpaced him, and this Orianna is absolutely massive.
Really need to keep our eyes on Kakan and Merbs for these fights, because Priskanet, unfortunately, is kind of a little useless at this point. Cloud Soul has been denied as well from Hybrid, which they were on point to get, but instead they decided to contest the Baron. They could have just got Cloud Soul, traded up, and looked to try and play around that. But they decide they don't want to go for it. They want to go for the fight. They lose their mid laner, and they lose their top laner. And now they've lost the Dragon and the Baron. Overall, it's just complete net loss for Hybrid.
This composition
struggling to clear out this wave as well.
This composition doesn't have good wave clear. You really need the Aphelios to deal with waves. So this split pressure working out well. Kakan has to step up to try and clear waves. Not the greatest situation for him. And he's nowhere near being long range enough to deal with that cannon, and no one can step up to Krogson. He's so strong.
They're going in. Krogson maybe can get caught here. The kick comes down. Vio's trying to get himself an opening. Merbs puts a turret up for the moment. Tries to krug through Krogson. Yike goes golden, and that's the shutdown. They lose the turret bot side, but Hybrid take Baron off Krogson. True Shot Barrage won't clip onto Yike. And Rai now makes his way forward. Has got PlayStation, the rest of the team with him. Hook comes out. Priskanet's trying to buy some time, but Merbs, he is just going to get taken down nice and easy. Scood has really put this game on his back in the midpoint.
But PlayStation as well, and this Poppy, just such a monster, consistently finding the stuns against the wall. And Hybrid, I mean, they found the pick on a Krogson, but they're really struggling to do anything else. And right now, this Poppy, so tanky, is doing a lot more than the Vladimir is in these team fights.
Scoot is actually winning here versus Kakan. Has to obviously jump away as Kakan popped his ultimate, but that's a good trade there for Scoot. Able to get that win. Now the Baron bases are coming down. They haven't got long left on it before it times out for them. In fact, I think it is timed out now. It has.
Well, the good thing for Hybrid is they're the ones with 3 dragons, so they don't actually have to contest the one coming up in 2 minutes 30, whereas Singularity absolutely do. The bad thing is they are 6,000 gold behind, and everyone on Singularity feels super strong right now. I mean, the fact that Scoot can bully Kakan around like that is a little bit concerning. He has picked his Zhonya's up now. There's a lot of power in these team fights, but there's a lot of magic resist on this front line. You can see the Hex Drinker for Scoot going a long way to mitigate his damage. The adaptive helm, huge against him. And now, he's potentially looking for something.
Khan not level 16 yet, so he wants to get that so he can get his max points in transfusion. But the fact we're at this point in the game,
max points in transfusion.
No, hemoplague. Sorry.
Yeah.
The fact that we're at this point in the game and a Lee Sin can literally go this well versus a Vladimir, really worrying. Especially when that Vladimir's got 3 items. He was winning in like kind of experience and gold in lane. The PlayStation, he doesn't really mind losing out in the lane because he's winging out on the map from his rotations.
And he's been playing it really well. You normally, when you see someone who's forced into an off-roll situation, it can be rough, but he's holding up solidly. Like, the lane matchup is rough, and we felt like Khan would be a massive threat in the side lane. It's not been a problem, and even in the team fights, he's been held at bay. It's concerning for Hybrid. We do see Mibs on a reset. I'm hoping he's able to pick up that Infinity Edge. I think he's just waiting for enough gold. Yeah, there he goes. He's got it. And that is obviously a big spike for the Aphelios. The thing is, you're just never really able to do any damage. Singularity, when they fight, they're so split from each other. The front line diving with all their mobility, and then he just isn't really going to be able to hit Krogson, because if you get in range of that, he'll just blow you up. Right now, Singularity looking to contest this blue away. They have control of the Dragon area to set up for this Dragon, but they also have a lot of ward coverage around that Baron, so it's not like Hybrid can sneak it as a response. Feels like there isn't a great option here. I think Hybrid should just give up the Dragon, potentially try and get some vision around the Baron in the meantime, and then look to take a fight on that.
21 seconds. It looks like there is not going to be any answer out by Hybrid. They want to play for a few more minutes before they look for a next team fight. Don't want to get baited in, lose the game off a team fight here.
Yeah, you can see Axis and Yike moving in together with Mirbs. They're going to try and get vision around the Baron area. That's the best thing you can do in this situation. You do not want to fight Singularity over a Dragon. Dragon doesn't do much damage. There's no debuffs from it. So it's not really like a hard objective to take compared to the Baron, which obviously shreds your MR, deals a lot of damage, and makes it vulnerable if Singularity try and go for that one and the team fight breaks out.
Yeah, Dragon's picked up. Catching waves here in the bot side. Looks like he's probably looking towards a Void Staff as his next item. So he can cut through the likes of PlayStation. Although PlayStation, he's just not playing with the team anymore. He's sorry, not playing in the lane. He's playing with the team now. So doesn't really care about going up versus Kakan. It's
Krogson can answer him because Krogson is so strong right now. He can absolutely annihilate Kakan. And all they're doing is just pushing the waves, maintaining that control.
Kakan now level 16, so he does finally have his Hemoplague maxed out. He's able to clear away these waves, but he's so cautious.
I mean, you have to be.
What Krogson's capable of doing.
Thing is, Krogson's got huge chase down potential, because obviously you can pull away from the shockwave, but there's a constant dissonance that can come out, given the movement speed buff and the slow. So if you do overstep, Krogson can just kill you, can just run you down. Right now, both teams are catching waves for a pretty long time. Hybrid fine with this situation. Obviously, the later the game goes, the less significant that gold gap will be. But we do now see Krogson picking up a Rabadon, so he's extremely strong. I think this could be the item breakpoint that allows Singularity to go, let's just force. They have PlayStation tanky enough to soak up the Baron, but he's not even going to come right now. I think Scooch is going to do it with the sustain he has. PlayStation potentially looking to deny Yike from getting in the pit. It's very hard to get over the wall against a Poppy.
Yeah, they're aware of it. It's going on. Gonna fry out the ultimate, catch him off guard. Now everybody else is just gonna try and make their way forward. Yike wants to see if he can get that flag in. Dragon does jump in. The shockwave lands on. He steals away the Baron, and Hybrid just bought themselves the time they needed.
Oh, that was such a close one. They knock Yike away, and you thought that'd be enough, but the damage wasn't there onto the Baron. Yike's able to get in with the Cataclysm. Didn't even use his flash there. And he gets the Baron, gets away, and they get a kill on the Vayu as well, and no one on Hybrid goes down. Huge plays coming out.
That is exactly what they needed to pull off there. Yike sacrifices himself for the greater good.
And even after, so he was level 12 at the start of the Baron fight. He was 3 levels down on Scoot. And he still managed to win that smite against Elise. Oh, right?
Right? You might be in trouble here. He can take a lot of damage. Kakan's just chasing him. Got the transfusion. It's going to force Rai to jump over the wall, and Kakan doesn't really want to commit too much more as PlayStation is around. Khan's going to make his way out. Did burn his flash. Same for Rai, who burnt heal and flash.
The Hex Drinker coming in clutch there. I think Rai would have gone down if it hadn't been available.
Moscow gets himself the kick off. They're going to find themselves a charm. An instant kill onto Priskanet. Merbs has to try and kite away from Vio, but everybody else is chasing him down. The turret has been put out, and that's a double kill for Rai. This Baron is suddenly disappearing on the side of Hybrid. Axes and Kakan, only ones with it left. Khan is going to try and take himself a turret. At least get something in response for his team.
He's going for the recall to defend, but PlayStation can just stop that. Like, Kakan can't kill PlayStation quick enough to really threaten him, and PlayStation can just stop him from ever recalling.
He can't teleport either, because you just get headbutted. PlayStation does have to run away. Now Kakan's just going to go for the all-in. Tries to pop the ultimate. Kakan not able to dodge away in time. And PlayStation, he's just a nuisance.
At least Kakan can recall now. Is a 1 consolation prize, but inhibitor in the mid lane has gone down. Singularity able to push that up against the jungle and the support who can't really do anything. Just when Hybrid make a good play, find something favorable in that Baron steal, it ends up backfiring pretty heavily there.
I am like, my eye is on Priskanet here. I've just not been impressed. He's being caught out way too much in just silly ways. And it's starting to cost him pretty heavily. Gets caught out mid lane, loses the Baron. The team then get the inhibitor off the back of it.
Definitely been a rough one overall for Priskanet. We've seen him have some monster performances, particularly on the Ziggs, and here he's just looked rough. Yeah, not much more to say than that. And the Lucian, not the most relevant carry in the late stage of the game, doesn't really hold up to the Orianna, the Aphelios, the Vladimir, even the Ezreal. That range advantage coming in clutch here. Rai able to lay down the damage, whereas it feels like Priskanet, his short range makes it incredibly hard for him to do anything in team fights. His culling is useful, but if you're in auto-attack range of Krogson or Rai, or even Scoot or PlayStation, you're in a vulnerable spot.
Void Staff finished up onto Kakan. He's got himself a blasting one, so that was one more item here.
Probably going to be the Leandries, I feel. Obviously, when you pop that ult, the Hemoblade gives you bonus damage.
Yeah.
And then the Madness passive on top of that, even more so. So puts you in a pretty good position. Could be the Rylai's, though. If you're looking to really punish PlayStation, that slow can actually make it even harder to run him down. 30 seconds on Cloud Dragon would again be sold for Hybrid, but we've had this story for the past almost 15 minutes.
They got Dragon's Soul Point at 16 minutes.
16 minutes, yeah.
Khan has got his Emo Plague, has got level 18 available to him. Hybrid are actually setting up a Death Brush here, but Scoot and PlayStation is able to walk away. They don't give anything over.
When the Poppy walks up, you're like, yeah, we don't. That's not the pick we want. That takes way too long.
Priskanet,
gotta be careful.
Take the Lantern away, and a Hybrid just going to give this up once again. They are so scared of Singularity, but Kakan, he's not scared. Just jump in here, but obviously has a lot of healing sustained to himself. Dragon's been started up, and it is being melted through Hybrid. Just can't do anything in this game.
It's really hard to approach. I mean, they get forced away because PlayStation's so tanky, and they don't want to get locked up with him because he will just engage. And they don't want to fight in the choke points when they're forced out because of the power of the shockwave. I think Hybrid just saying, we'll wait longer. Fourth Dragon, that's going to be the one it's going to come down to. Mibs opting not to deal with the wave.
Yeah.
Reset.
He wants to get himself his Last Whisper. The rest of the team actually just pushing up on the bot side. They're coming down. Priskanet's going to throw out the culling. PlayStation just sets a tickle. Yike gets himself 2 Cataclysmed in. Shockwave goes down as the turret has been picked up. Nobody's died yet as Vio is able to get his way out of danger. Just using the Moonlight Vigil. Gets the Graviton onto a 3 members. They've not got anything to follow up with, though. Singularity, they just made their way out.
Yeah, and Kakan ends up doing nothing in that fight. Just CC, lockdown, tower gets taken, and no re-engage comes through.
They lost top lane tower as well.
Yeah.
Priskanet's going to go catch this wave.
I mean, Mibs could have just cleared the wave. I mean, he has Runons. He could have done it in a second, and he opted not to.
Just really, really questionable play coming from Hybrid. They played so well in this early phase, but Singularity just had their number later and was able to pull it back.
And this was the talking point of the first game of the split between these two, where Hybrid looked good in the early game, and then when it came down to the decision-making in the later stages, Singularity just had their number. Despite the fact, I think Hybrid have great scaling in their composition on the back of this Vladimir, and the Philios as well. Priskinet's had a bad game, and it just feels like every fight, Singularity are finding the better scenarios to set it up. There's no real challenge on a Krogson or Rai, and PlayStation just able to be this beefy front line. I feel like Hybrid, they need a TP flank potentially if they're going to find something.
I'd say also Yike, outside of that Baron still, hasn't really had a particularly stellar game himself. 0-5 and 8, been punished quite heavily. And I do worry that he's not really going to be able to do anything because PlayStation just shuts him down so effectively with that steadfast presence. It looks like they're trying to set up a little something here, but
critically flashes just about to come up for Scoot and Vayu, so everyone will have their flashes available for this. Rai and Scoot start up the Baron here. They have pretty good vision control. Hybrid gonna have to face check if they want to stop them from taking this one.
Yeah, they use that scry. They look to find something onto PlayStation, but PlayStation's just able to get the buckler shield off. Scoot and Rai keep this Baron aggroed, and now Hybrid, they know what's going on. The culling's going to come out. Priskinet does get caught to cancel that one out. Looks like for now they're looking to cancel out the bases as Kakan jumps forward. It's going to go into the blood pool. Doesn't actually get himself anything else there. They stop the Baron crucially here for Hybrid.
I felt like that could have been it for Hybrid. That could have been the engage they wanted, but ultimately unable to find anything. Singularity looking to start this one up again because they know the minion wave's pressuring down mid. Kakan has to answer. PlayStation has TP if he wants to rejoin.
Yep,
and he's coming in now.
Kakan also has his teleport. He's looking just to run his way in. Hook comes down, teleports there. PlayStation, he gets picked up. That's an easy kill. Kakan jumps in. Shockwave only onto Priskinet. That's going to be a cataclysm, and it's a shutdown for Kakan. Moonlight Vigil onto Krogson and Rai will do so much damage, but that means Merbs is fully stacked up, and he's going to try and take down this Baron nice and quick. True Shot Barrage does some serious damage. The teleports are going into the base. It looks like they just want to try and end and get some inhibitors here for the side of
not sure about
Singularity. The bases are going down. Baron's been picked up. They don't even get the inhibitor. Axes, he's just having to run away from Rai and Vayu. Unfortunately for the Fresh, his days are numbered here. Rai should get this kill nice and easy. Onto Axes. And at least they take Baron off one. Cloud Soul coming up in 44 seconds. And staggered base there actually is pretty bad for Hybrid on this Cloud Soul.
Yeah, they're going to be missing a member when the Cloud Dragon actually spawns. So they're going to look to try and get control here. Big point of that fight was the damage from Merbs was enough to take down PlayStation. Tank feels so unkillable in the mid game, but when it gets to these later stages and the armor penetration comes in for Merbs, he has the items to just shred through this Poppy. No longer do you feel invincible and can just stand up in front. And it's not just Merbs with the Lord Dominic's. Priskinet has it as well. And I feel like Singularity can no longer rely on their Poppy to just be this unchallengeable frontline for them. Axis isn't up for a while, and as well, Hybrid have to back away. This would be solved for whichever team can take it, and it has just spawned.
Well, they're looking to go in here. Yike needs to find a miracle steal, but PlayStation will zone him away. Cloud Soul picked up for Singularity, and now Vayu, when that quickness pops, he's going to be so quick. Gets himself an up onto Yike. True Shot Barrage clips through too. Another speed ups are starting to come down. Moonlight Vigil onto Scoot will root him up, and Krogson on the flank. He's going to force Axes to flash as Rai just hunting people down left, right, and center. Vayu comes forward, gets himself the flash, the quickness, the knockup. PlayStation also jumping in. Merbs trying to kite and fight away. Kakan jumps into the backline though, throws down a massive Hemo Plague as they do turn some of the damage back around. Krogson's low. Shockwave goes completely wide. It's another whiffed one from Krogson. And Hybrid, they lose the soul, but they're looking to try and turn the fight as Yike. He's just being run down. It's been a bit of a Yikes game for him. And Rai will take him out, but look in the mid lane. Hybrid just pushing up. They've still got this Baron for a little bit. They're just going to use the bases now.
Yeah, both teams just going to be set off that, but Singularity get the soul. They got what they wanted. Rai looking huge in these team fights, but Krogson missing the mark a little bit. The shockwaves haven't been too solid, and he keeps getting challenged. He doesn't have the mobility Rai does to sort of evade these difficult situations. And you can definitely see the scaling from Kakan coming through. He ended up going for the Banshees. And that helps to mitigate some of the peel, potentially, that can come out with the quickness, with the Dragon's Rage. And when he gets those big Hemo Plagues and can layer his combo on top, he does so much damage.
He really, really does. He's got the Banshees. Keep himself nice and safe. Got the Zonyas to keep himself nice and safe. And he's just got a buttload of damage to follow it up. Merbs, all he really needs to do is finish off his last item. We can see that Priskanet is building up a crit item. Looks like he'll probably go for the Essence Phantom Dancer, sorry. Give himself a little bit of safety with that shield. Merbs there to cut through these waves nice and quick. Kakan will get caught out with the Lantern, gets proc. They get themselves a hook onto Scoot, and Scoot's now going to take some a lot of damage from Priskanet. Not going to follow up, though. They don't want to risk losing the fight here. There's 41 minutes on the clock. Singularity, they have got that Cloud Soul. They are slowing down a little bit here versus Hybrid.
I think the big thing is the 4 Cloud Soul means those ults. I mean, look at Vayu. Just look at the quickness timer ticking away so fast. It's going to be up pretty soon, and the movement speed you get with that engage, pretty monstrous as well. The flat movement speed from the Soul as well, it makes Kakan's job so much harder. Trying to chase down on the back of the phase rush.
And it's going to be so heartbreaking here for Hybrid, knowing that they were on Soul Point at 16 minutes into this game. And they've just been unable to find that last one just through silly misplacements, missteps that have cost them a good crucial time.
Singularity as well. We're going to challenge them on that. Right now, they got the waves pushed in the base, trying to look for this inhibitor. There's going to be the potential to go for an engage, but flashes up on Krogson and Ryan makes this
Moonlight Vigil's going to come down. It's the Gravitum. Actually catches Vayu out a little bit, but Kakan just can't get close enough. The hammer goes out by PlayStation. Hook does land onto one, but Axis can't really follow up anymore here. And now Scoot looks to jump onto Kakan. Kakan just minces through his health, gets himself the Dragon's Rage off, but Kakan, he's able to tank this up for the moment. Yike taking a lot of damage. Shockwave once again from Krogson goes wide into the Cataclysm. Gets cancelled out, so Krogson's able to escape. And Priskanet trying to put some damage down. They've lost 2 inhibitors here.
Sets them up perfectly for the Baron with these super minions pushing in. You see a little bit of damage coming down from Merbs there, nearly blowing Krogson up. And he does end up having to flash out the Cataclysm. But ultimately, they still get the inhibitors. Baron spawning in 30 seconds. It sets them up for this play. But if Hybrid can find a fight where they blow Krogson up, that could be enough.
I do feel like if Krogson had landed that Shockwave there, they probably could have taken the game.
I mean, it only would have hit Yike, and he had flash as well. So
I thought Priskanet was quite close to it as well.
No.
Okay. Okay, maybe not then. But even so, we've had 2 or 3 whiff shockwaves from Krogson in a row.
Yeah, definitely hasn't looked as good in the later stage as he did early game. They are pretty heavily relying on Ryan right now. He's full build. And he has a lot of safety in his kit. That's a big aspect. Good chase potential. But compared to Merbs, he does not have nearly as much raw damage compared to a crit build, especially when it's Nephilios. With items like, with weapons like the Infernum.
It looks like Hybrid, they just need to do something because the wave is going to be pushing up in that bot side. So they need to do something about this Baron nice and quick. It looks like now the call is just to start it up. It will go down very quickly here to Hybrid. It's the True Shot Barrage thrown out to Scout. Krogson has now got that Shockwave. It's all or nothing here for the side of Hybrid. Singularity, they can afford to buy some time here. Kakan has to go golden, has got the Hemo Plague, gets Yike in there for the moment. Is going to see into the blood pool they go. They found themselves one. Baron's going to get another one. Moonlight Vigil for a double kill. The teleports are coming in. Looks like just a matter of stopping the bases is the key thing. Scoot gets the kick flash off, but Merbs is able to kite it away for the moment. Now they're trying to teleport backwards, trying to see if they can get one out. As almost able to get the shutdown. Merbs trying to do something. Krogson inside the base is taking out these towers like they are nothing. Merbs tries to turn it around as the Scoot does get a lot of damage, but Rai's got himself a triple kill and he's looking for the Quadra. Merbs gets himself a rampage as he's trying to get the damage out to Rai, unable to find it, and that's the unofficial Quadra picked up for Rai. Meanwhile, Kakan is looking for Krogson, uses the Hemo Play, gets himself a kill, but his Nexus has been left open for that.
Really aggressive play coming out from Singularity, trying to set that up. You could see the desperation from Hybrid. They had to start the Baron, or the super minion waves would threaten their base.
But they didn't. Kakana teleport. All he had to do was push up and just let his team get a bit more control around the pit. He was so scared of a kick flash from Scoot that
I feel like they had to start it, because if Kakan TP's in late, they can't apply pressure. And you saw what happened when Singularity have control of the area. But right now, the respawn time is faster for Hybrid. Croxon down for a long time. They could push in on this Elder, and the Elder is the more valuable target. But you can see pings coming in, but it's only PlayStation with TP, and he has 0 damage afforded to him.
Merbs is on his way as well. Coming up soon. Pisconet's made his way in as well. Now it looks like they're looking to start up the Dragon. Already lost 1/4 of its health, and it is actually melting here. Rice just running towards the base. He's looking for Priskonet, and Priskonet gets deleted. Rice just going to end the game right here. I don't think anything can happen. No, Merbs has got himself the ability to clear these waves. If he can get the Elder, he might be able to find this fight versus PlayStation. He has himself the Elder Drake, and the team fight is on. Kakan wants to take out Scoot as quick as possible. True Shot Barrage goes a little bit wide. Hammer to follow. They're getting the back up. Rice just looking for the Nexus. He's just looking for the game. Merbs can't do it in time. Hybrid get caught sleeping and taken down.
And I think the big talking point was
Priskonet.
Yeah.
That was just flat unfortunate.
Not a good showing.
Yeah.
We saw something different from Priskonet, because we saw him move away from the mages on this Lucian. Wasn't good.
No,
that wasn't good.
Unfortunately, it's not nice to kind of be overly harsh, but every time a play had gone wrong for them, it started with him getting caught.
Yeah.
On his own. I mean, props to Rai just to go, I know I can 100-0
Rai
hear
was
him.
Playing so well.
Rai was playing incredible.
Game.
Scoot was playing fantastic. Outside of that Baron steal, but I think that maybe caught him off guard a little bit. I think for the most part, if you look at Singularity, every individual member played that very well. I think you look at PlayStation, off-roll as well, in that top lane, playing the Poppy, roaming around the map, always using the fact that he was so tanky and the fact that he could cancel dashes to zone members of a Hybrid away from an objective.
I think there were definitely mistakes from a lot of the members of Singularity, but I think Rai was super consistent. He was just performing the entire game. In the later stages, he carried them through to victory. In every team fight, it felt like he was untouchable. So huge credit to him for pulling them over the line. It obviously wasn't a clean game. It was a bit rough. But Hybrid very much could have taken that one. Just a few too many mistakes. And it felt like in the mid-game, it's almost like they just expected Singularity to have control, and they just conceded it so much. They kept getting caught out, favorable fights being given over, and it felt like Hybrid were a little bit lost on the map. I think a big part was, we talked about how important this mid-jungle matchup was.
Yeah.
It failed drastically badly.
It did. Unfortunately, it did. And with that, Team Singularity do get the expected result, but you know, if you're a Hybrid fan, that game started so well for them, and it really looked like they were going to be able to take this versus, you know, the top team in the league. But Singularity, they start off the second round robin with a win, and they're looking on form right about now. But we've still got more games to come up here at the Nordic Championship. And coming up after the break, it's going to be Dusty versus Nordic. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a second.